Hey, what's up, Warriors? Christopher, and just want to hop back in here and make another video for you. So I'm gonna start wrapping up this series. We talked about a lot of things. We talked about passion. We talked about purpose. We talked about finding, where is your, where do you get clients from? How do you know what to say to them? We talked about a lot of stuff, a lot of different things. Okay, things that I wish I would have known, and I had to find out the hard way, and it sucked. It sucked. It was not fun finding this stuff out. But I want you to avoid that trial, that tribulation, that pain, because it's not fun. I'm gonna tell you right now. So as we're wrapping this up, one of the things people ask me a lot is, how do I know what to charge? How do I know what to charge? So that's a very, very interesting question. So let me ask you this, okay? And I'm gonna preface, I'm gonna kind of just put this out there. So when I was younger, I used to smoke. I used to smoke cigarettes. And I can remember, if a person who maybe they smoke a pack a day, imagine that person who smokes a pack of cigarettes a day, and then it's been 2 days they've been without a cigarette. If somebody walks up to them and has a cigarette, a pack of cigarettes, and that person who hasn't smoked, who wants a cigarette, and the person who wants to sell them for $100, they're probably more likely to pay that $100 to get them cigarettes than before they went without it, right? Here's another example. Let me come at this from a different direction. You get done eating Thanksgiving dinner. You're in a coma, okay? You're like a cornucopia in a casket, right? Woo, just out. So you're not so hungry. Now just imagine it's been 5 days and you haven't eaten anything, but you got $100 in your pocket. And so somebody walks up and they've got a big hoagie, but it's $100, and you have a $100 bill in your pocket. Are you more or less likely to pay $100 for that hoagie? And the answer is, you probably already spent that $100, and you're probably passed out because you already ate that hoagie, right? So you understand what I'm talking about? I'm talking about perceived value. Perceived value. And it's not up to us to say what somebody else values. It's not, unless in a position of commerce, all right, the transfer of something that you have with something that, right, somebody else wants what you have. If it doesn't agree, if there's no agreement, there's no switch, right? There's no switch. But if there's agreement, there's a switch. Excuse me. So let me dive into this a little bit more. How come some people will pay more money for oceanfront property or lakefront property or river property compared to maybe land in the middle of North Dakota, land in South Dakota, land in a desert? It's all about perceived value, what a person thinks of that. So perception can be a very, very interesting thing. Again, you go to the movie theater and typically you pay twice, maybe 3 times as much for anything you want there. You go to an amusement park and you pay twice, probably 3 times as much as you would normally pay. But guess what? Do you happily do it? More than likely, you absolutely do, right? You absolutely do. Excuse me. And it's based upon perceived value. Perceived value. Perceived value. So perceived value is a very, very interesting thing. And I believe it's something I always love to study, perceived value. And I learned a long time ago that perceived value is a very touchy, but something that's, I think, has a lot to do with allowing God's blessings to come into your life. Okay, so what do you charge? Well, you can go and, look around and say, okay, well, how much is everybody else charging? And you say, well, okay, this is going to be my price. Now, what have you become? You've become a commodity, okay? So like eggs, bread, milk, whatever, you become a commodity. What happens is people price shop you, okay? They just compare you based upon your price. But when you learn how to add value, excuse me, has a lot to do with perceived, yeah, imagine that. Value has a lot to do with perception of value. So what am I talking about? You go on an airplane. You go on an airplane and you just got coach seats, right? So you go in the back, you're all squished up, you know, all that stuff. But people will pay more money for a ticket to have a bigger seat, to get a little bit better food, to have a little curtain to close off the area, and to get on the plane and get off the plane faster. Perceived value. Music concerts. People will pay a little bit more money to sit up front than they will away from it. Same thing with most sporting events, things of that nature. Perceived value. So now we talked a little bit about perceived value. I know that you have a better understanding of that. And I know that as you go out after watching this video, you are going to be highly in tune to perceived value. So why is it that somebody could go to a restaurant and pay, you know, $20 for a meal, but somebody could go to a restaurant and pay $2,000? Perceived value. The food may taste the same, but what do the bathrooms look like? How are they treated when they walk in, when they walk out? What happens after they leave? I mean, all these things. So it's about creating more value, more value. So when you're able to do that, you're really able to be in a class by yourself, And what I would challenge you to do is to focus on solving a problem where you get rewarded for solving a problem compared to, you know, so let's say, for example, you know, somebody comes up and says, somebody has a hole in their roof, and they, you know, they're like, okay, hey, you know, I'll come here and work $15 an hour, you know, to repair your roof. Okay. And they're like, okay, that's great, that's nice. But the other person says, you know what, I'm gonna come here, I'm gonna repair your roof. I'm also gonna conduct an inspection of your roof because, you know what, 85% of the time what I've noticed is that, you know, more homes have improper seals, and these have led to water seeping in through their roofs, through the roof line, and also there's an industry average that what's really happened as far as like the damage done is usually around $3,500. So I'm going to go through, I'm going to inspect all that stuff. Plus I want to make sure that your gutters are sealed up right, sealed properly, because it's also going to be a problem too, because if your gutters are not, you know, coming down and draining properly, then what happens is it seeps down through, gets closer to the foundation, comes in, causes mold. And, you know, we've all heard of ServPro, right? Well, the reason that ServPro is probably around, I'm just guessing, is because there's so much issues of mold. And on average, their average bill is $9,500. So I'm going to do that for you. And then on top of that, I'm also going to come back 30 days from now. I'm going to give you my personal cell phone number, and, you know, pagers are pretty much done, but I'm going to give you my pager. And if you have any questions, I'm guaranteeing my work. Now, obviously, there's quite a bit of a difference there, right? Perceived value. You see, I was able to build that value. And again, it's taken a while to be able to understand that. But now that you know that, you're going to start looking at that, seeing that, and you're going to have a revelation. You're going to have a breakthrough of this and understand how you create this stuff and mold this. And that really, just like that water that's over on my side and the water that's getting ready to come down, because it's getting ready to pour. It's fluid. It's fluid. And so that's one of the things that I love about, you know, marketing and sales and business. It's really just problem solving. And that's what algebra is, problem solving, right? Here's a plug for math and numbers, right? Okay, yeah. Hey, Mr. Canning. He's one of my math teachers. He actually spent some extra time with me to teach me stuff and made a huge difference, right? Such a simple thing, positively impacting people. So that really has a lot to do with it. The other part I'll say is it's trial and error, you know? Somebody can charge twice as much and work with less people. So what I say is go out there and, you know, like Nike, just do it and measure, test, fail, see what happens, what works. And you're gonna, you know, be able to gauge from your response of your clients and also your own response. And you're gonna find a level. And the bottom line that I must say is always to create a situation where your clients win more, feel like they win more than you win, okay? It doesn't mean you don't win, but what I'm saying is if there's a scale, they've always got to feel like they come away with the win. So how is Walmart able to do what they do? people go there and they're always like, they feel like get a deal. They feel like they got a great deal. On top of all the mindless indoctrination, right? Walmart, always low prices, right? You know? So anyway, so hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Love you guys. Just so thankful that you're here. I would encourage you to share this with other people, because chances are you know somebody who's getting that rapid tap, 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 and feeling that it's time to answer the call of God that's on their life. So love you guys. God bless. And I will see you in future videos. Bye-bye now.